chat.
The chat, that's right. We're going to chat a little bit tonight, Barry.
Well,
But I'll tell you, here's the topic tonight. Start off with.
Uh-oh, here we go.
We'll get high.
Send it in here. Tell me what you're going to give.
Yeah, we do high school here in a minute. Let's talk about the Vols basketball. Let's start off with the round ball. Rick Barnes.
Very nice coach. Very good.
Is it time for him to go?
No.
I'm repeating what
Okay.
a lot of people
We're
are
just
saying.
chatting. We're just chatting.
A lot of people are saying
Why is it
it's
time to go?
for him to go
Why?
because he cannot get past where he's going in basketball.
Because he lost his point guard, changed the whole team
I
around.
understand that. I'm with you on that because it's more of a defensive squad than an offensive squad, and you're never going to get anything no more than what we've got right now. So are we happy with winning 20 games, winning the SEC every now and then?
Beating the number one team in the country when they come in.
I'm with you all. I think he's, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when me and you came back here, that he might be the best basketball coach that's been at Tennessee in a long, long, long time. They're comparing him to Gonzo Martin. Gonzo Martin.
Well, poor old Gonzo never puts.
One-time tournament.
I'm saying though, but he never put people in seats in the stadium. I mean, they sell more popcorn now than they did 15 years ago.
Buzz Peterson, if you remember, said because Coke's popcorn
Well,
sales was down. That's one part
They
of
made
it.
it too salty. They wanted to sell Cokes with
Yeah,
it.
okay, he might have made it too salty. That's the reason they said they fired him. But beside the point, so, they're saying he can't recruit. He's having trouble recruiting. And they talk about the players that he has sent to the NBA. Wherever he's been, he's sent players on to the NBA that's had pretty good careers.
So was there a young man named Durant?
Yeah, Kevin Durant, Grant Williams.
From Texas?
There's plenty of things here. But
I'll just say this. Would Texas like to have him back?
I don't think so.
Ooh, I think they would.
They signed the coach that took him to the Elite Eight.
Well, and they should have. And
he did a good job.
They should have.
I'm surprised.
I would have been
to be honest with you. I'm surprised he got the job.
I would really be disappointed if they hadn't.
I'm surprised he got the job.
Well, that's right. But he, he stepped in at a time, and now Mississippi's got the former coach and all the baggage that he brought. But my guess is if you talk to the real basketball fans at Texas, they'd like to have Rick Barnes back, because you know what you got. You got a guy that's going to have a solid basketball team year in and year out. Should he have had another point guard ready to go? Probably. Just in the event of energy. But that messed the whole chemistry up on that basketball team. Offensively, they really weren't a juggernaut, but when we lost our point guard, we lost more than just a point guard.
Right, and man, you talk about a time to lose your point guard. This year of all times, it was set up pretty sweet for Tennessee to be right now going in the Final Four this weekend coming up.
And look, you look at the guard play, David, during this whole tournament. There's not a better guard. Nobody gets to the rim any better than he does, any faster than he does. Gives the dish. That's why our big guys had such a good season. When he was in the game, you had to leave your position to either give him a layup or come over. And when you came over, our big guys got a lot of dishes this year.
Yeah, they did.
That's an H. Green stamps.
I'm agreeing.
Oh, you hadn't heard that one in a long time.
That's been a long time, man. Back to White Store days. Back to White Store days. That's Food City today. Yeah, that's been a long time. But that's the knock on Barnes, that he's a defensive-minded coach. You take any, whether it's a basketball team, a football team. You take your baseball team, you take your ace pitcher and take him out of the rotation.
Sure.
Because he's injured. Take a couple, maybe it affects a little bit more. Maybe there's two players come. That affects you. I don't care
just
what
the chemistry.
Listen, basketball, that's the leader of the.
Yep.
He's the floor general.
That's why your Florida Atlantics and all these others are pulling upsets, is because of guard play.
But also, it's about who gets hot at the right time.
It is.
Some of the, and I'll tell you another thing, and I really hate to do this. In my career, I've not got on officials too much. You know that because we've
But Duke game.
we've been together quite a bit, and you've not heard me bad
No,
mouth.
that-
Well, there's only a couple officials I've really been on. You know, like Porter and.
Oh, that what
Kennedy
you
and-
that what you want to call him?
Well, you know, I just, you know,
One
those
more-
two guys.
One more opportunity. Call them out.
Those two guys. I
Great
mean,
guys.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they're not much of officials. They're good guys. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I like those guys.
But you're
anyway,
right. I mean, in a
but,
tournament.
you know, the foul that won the game, well, the Duke game. We're just not. This isn't even not talk about that. The game this past weekend on the foul. I agree. If it's a foul in the first minute of a ball game, it ought to be a foul in the last minute of a ball game.
Same as a strike zone.
Right. If it's a strike zone the first inning, it ought to be a strike zone in the ninth. There ought not be no difference. I agree with you 100%. But, man, I don't know. To put that game to win by 1 point like that, wow. I didn't think it was much of a foul. Not compared to what some of the underneath what they are.
Yeah.
If you go underneath, and you better be a man.
You're drawing blood.
You're drawing blood. You're getting hammered. You're getting hammered. And I think Tennessee got a bad rap. We'll go back to Tennessee there on that. I think Tennessee got a really bad rap on that.
Yeah.
Being rough and physical on defense. I think they got a bad rap. They were good. They were rough and physical, but they got a bad rap about it. That's all. You know, you got to overcome once you overcome the defense, you got to beat.
But the problem is, it depends on which conference you're playing in the field of 64, because different conferences play different ways with officials. Big Ten, it's a known fact. You can hammer a little bit better in the Big Ten than you can any place else. And if you look and see, the Big Ten traditionally, they'll have a team in there toward the end, and a lot of it has to do with the caliber of play and the style of play that you have. But I think the Tennessee offensive thing, you could almost see it, David, when they were hot and hitting the buckets, everything went good. But when teams were really playing really good defense on them, Vescovi out there dribbling around, you're taking 8 or 10 seconds off the shot clock. It makes a big difference when you're looking for points and
too much.
Yeah.
Too much. Maybe I shouldn't say what I'm fixing to say, but I'll say it anyway. Too much passing.
Yeah.
Too much passing instead of taking the shot. I mean, you can hear the announcer saying, well, all Barnes and them are doing is telling so-and-so to shoot the ball when he gets it, shoot the ball when he gets it, shoot the ball when he gets it. And he gets it and he throws it, he passes it on to somebody else, and he does it about 4 or 5 times. Then they get down to 1 or 2 seconds in the shot clock, and they got to throw something out of their back pocket up to try to get it up to the rim. But anyway.
we just relied too much on somebody getting hot. And if somebody got hot, then we were in trouble.
Correct. So in your opinion, you think Barnes ought to stay?
Oh, I mean, who are you going to get that's going to be better? Who are you going to get that's going to take you to the tournament every year, that's going to get you at least, and I'm going to say Sweet 16 almost every year? Who's going to be more consistent?
So do you think he deserves a raise?
I might give him a little raise. I wouldn't give him an extension. See, I think those extensions is what gets you in trouble.
Get you in trouble with the extensions? So he should get, I'm sure something is in his contract that says if he wins the SEC, he gets some money.
Right.
If he goes to the NCAA 64, he gets some money. If he goes to the Sweet 16, he gets so much, or the Elite Eight or Final Four. I'm sure there's bonuses in there for him. So I agree with you. I don't think Rick Barnes, I'm not for running Rick Barnes off in any form or fashion, because I agree with you. Who would we go get? And listen, a lot of these coaches right now, you see all these coaches that have made these sort of runs, they're getting all these jobs.
Who would you rather have, Rick Barnes or somebody that made one
Let me ask you a
run?
question. They've made a run one time.
One time.
Where have they been?
Just like the Florida Atlantic coach. You think he's going to go somewhere? If not this year, next year he will be, because he's taking the team to the Final Four.
Yeah, but there's another coach I think's already he's already left and went. I forgot where he went. He's already gone someplace. I mean, you make a final. They say you make that run and that'll get you a promotion. Well, I don't
look at
know.
how many it has.
How do you grade somebody off just one or 2 games and say that's it? That's who I want to lead my program right there.
Athletic directors.
This got hot at the right time. Tennessee had an injured point guard. So we'll move on and say that, and by the way, not any number ones
Right.
in the Final Four.
Right.
I don't believe there's any number twos neither, or threes. I think it's fours and fives. There might be a three. I'm sorry, I might be wrong. UConn might be a three.
I think UConn was a 3.
So it's. I know there's not any ones or
Hurley,
twos.
Danny Hurley.
Yeah, there's not any number one seeds
Right.
that made it this year
Right.
to the
And the first time,
Final Four.
and the first time that that there's which two teams was it since 90? I guess that was ladies. That Tennessee and Connecticut, neither of them
1985, since Stanford, Connecticut, or Tennessee has not been there.
been
neither.
there.
UConn's a 4? Yeah, he said UConn's a 4 then. So
that's what I was
it might be from 3 down. There's not anybody. I mean, from 3 up, there's not anybody. So
That's,
I look
that's gotta
forward.
be a
I look
first,
forward.
doesn't it?
Huh?
That's got to be a first, doesn't it?
It might be. I've not heard them talk about it. But anyway, I look forward to seeing the games this weekend, and we'll see what happens.
So who wins it all in your opinion?
Wow. I'm going to say Miami.
I'm going to take Connecticut.
It's not a bad
Take
choice.
Connecticut. I think they're hot right now.
I almost said Connecticut,
and
but
playing in the Big East, they've played against good guards all year.
If I hadn't have said what I said, I probably would have said Connecticut. It's a good choice, I think. So we'll move over to the Lady Vols side. Kelly Harper. I don't. I hate to, I thought she might be the answer. You talk about replacing. Well, you talk about Holly Warwick. I thought the fall with her was. I didn't think she was much of a coach when she was just assistant at Tennessee. There's a reason she never did go somewhere when everybody tried to get her to come. It wasn't just staying with Pat Summitt. I think she stayed with Pat Summitt because there was a comfort there. And
You don't think she was waiting for the head job?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think they ever thought in a million years that what would happen to Pat. I think they thought Pat Summitt would still be kicking today and still be alive today, bouncing around on the sidelines, coaching Lady Vol basketball. And I think Holly Warwick stayed there because she knew she couldn't coach, and she got put in. I thought Kelly Harper might be the answer, but if you really want to look at it and say, has the Lady Vols improved since she's been there? And I don't know if you actually can put it on paper and show that they've improved any. I mean, they did make it to the, Sweet 16, I think, this year.
That's a given, isn't it?
Yeah, almost.
There's not 64. There's not
Almost.
64
But
programs
if
on
you
that
look
side.
at the teams, in the Final Four, and you look at South Carolina and Iowa, and you look at Virginia Tech and LSU, you look at them and you see one key thing on most of those teams. They all 4 have one key player.
Which is Connecticut. Which what Connecticut always has.
Right, which is a big-time player. I think that's what's killing Tennessee. They've got a couple that they think are big-time players. One of them is gone now. She said today in the paper that she'll not be back. I think that's a great move for her not coming back. Myself, the girl that transferred from Mississippi State, we'll see what happens next year. The big tall girl that was hurt this year, that's another thing. I guess you could defend Kelly Harper a little bit and say she loses one of the taller players.
So how many programs do you think on that side are really solid programs that can beat anybody?
How many out of the 60? Out of the 60?
Well, just how many programs in the country do you think there are that you could really classify as really solid programs?
Maybe 10, 12.
Okay, I think you're about right. I think maybe 15 at the most.
Maybe 15 at the most. You'd be stretching it at 20.
So at 64, at 64,
watered down a little bit.
You can about walk to the Sweet 16, can't you?
But isn't the men's side watered down a little bit too?
It is watered down, but not as much, because I think on the men's side you actually have some programs which we've seen that can play. They're just in a small conference that don't get a lot of recognition, but they've got some players that can play, and if they get hot. On the other side, I don't see but about 15 programs, even if you get hot and you go on a good tear, that can beat consistently with Stanford, LSU, with Tennessee, with Connecticut. You know, I mean, we started out with Old Dominion. You know, Old Dominion was the first program.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech.
And then Louisiana Tech came along, and then they got really big. Then Stanford came along, then Tennessee came along.
If you look at this and see, you know, everybody says Tennessee had a run back in the day.
Right.
Connecticut's had a run back in the day.
Well, but they're still pretty good, though.
Stanford. I'm talking about winning a national championship.
Well, they can still do that.
Stanford had a run. Gone. Now it's South Carolina. Well, Notre Dame gets sprinkled in there and wins one. Now it's South Carolina.
On the shot at the buzzer.
Now it's South Carolina. We'll see if they're going to go on a run, or will it be somebody else.
They're pretty
it seems
solid.
like in women, you go on a run,
Yeah.
and then your run's over with, and do you
South
get back
Carolina's
to the top?
pretty solid. They may be.
Hold your thought on
There may be a-
hold your thought on South Carolina. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back. We'll see if Chandler's got us some high school stuff. We'll finish up with the Lady Vols here. We'll be right back just in a minute.
As soon as I walked in the door and saw just the ambiance of the place, I thought, wow. I said, this is really nice. Everyone is just great with all of the residents.
I call this the Alexander House of Angels.
This is an example of one of our rooms. This is considered a large studio. We do have 4 different size rooms. They all have their own private bathrooms. They all have a small kitchenette.
I always tell residents that they feed us wisdom. I feel like that's a big special part of working in assisted living.
And it's a big family here. Everyone is very nice.
Look out for each other.
They do. She's made a lot of friends. It's been that from day one.
Yeah, it has. I love our building, our people, but I tell you, I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is your one-stop shop for vehicle sales and service. The Duff family is open for business for everything automotive. We offer fully inspected, dependable pre-owned vehicles, and most come with a powertrain warranty at no extra cost. We also have a complete service department equipped for maintenance and repairs on all makes and models.
Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
We treat you like family at RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. We treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Harriman and Rockwood.
Welcome back to the locker room chat. We've talked about the Vols and the lady. We're talking about the Lady Vols. So, what do you think, Kelly Harper on the clock?
I think
not on the clock. Happy with her.
I think she's on the clock.
Well, what we haven't heard that we heard back when we were doing the show back a few years ago, we were hearing from basketball people that were season ticket holders that had been there for a while. And the rumblings were starting to really get loud. I think when those people start rumbling again, then there'll be time for a change. Right now, I think she's safe. I think somewhere for her to, if she's going to stay at UT long term, I'm talking long term, she's got to make an Elite Eight or Final Four appearance.
Yeah, because just what we talked about. There are not that many good teams. And
I'm agreeing with you.
you need to hit one. You need to hit one every now and then.
You got to hit one every now and then. I don't think you got to go every year, but you need to go every 2 or 3.
And she did sign an 8th grader, didn't she? In the 8th grader that's already committed.
Yeah, I think so. There's some 8th grade girls.
So help's on the way.
Help's on the way. That's what you could.
if she just lasts that long.
If she can last it, I don't know if she can last that long.
No. I think the next 3 years are critical for her. I think within the next 3 years, if she doesn't make a run or have an outstanding recruiting class the year forward that they think she can be there, then I think it's for both parties. It's good for both parties. It's not good to just stick around and it was good. I mean, she was a Pat Summitt disciple. She had all the players. She could relate to the banners, but sometimes it's more than that. I think it hurts her that her husband's on her staff.
Yeah, I do too. Here's what I think hurts her more than anything. There's a young lady coaching at Duke, and she's the head coach.
That's right.
And she's an ex-Vol.
That's right.
And she might be the best out of all the ones that played at Tennessee as far as coaching-wise. She might be the girl. Caroline.
If she's successful at Duke, really watch out.
That's what I was going to say. If she does something big at Duke, then watch out.
Yeah, because when she came out of the booth, she was saying basically, I'm available, and I don't have to start at Tennessee, but I might finish at Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, I think that's in the back of your mind. I want to go to the baseball program right quick. Okay. Tony Vitel's made a comment. I think it's today on the news that this year's team might have just got too hyped up from about all the things that happened last year. They just
for Missouri sweep.
Well, all of it. It's just they might it might not be. They got so tied up in it last year that it might just be.
They better come back to earth before Friday night.
Do they get swept this weekend?
I don't know if they get swept or not, but if they can come out of there without getting swept, that's a major accomplishment. So they can win one of them. That's a major accomplishment.
You think LSU is the real deal?
I think LSU's got they had the nucleus. They've picked up some in the portal. They've recruited well. I think this early in the season, the advantage should be Tennessee because of the pitching. Number 1 pitcher in the country. I mean, really solid rotation. So if you don't,
What would you think if Tennessee goes down and takes 2 out of 3?
I would think that they're settling down and the bats are starting to, their offense has been pretty good, but they've been giving up a lot of runs too. They've been giving up 7, 8 runs a game.
The offense has been just a little bit behind. I agree with you.
So if they can, and the shortstop coming out when he did, he had to wait 5 games, 6 games, and he's supposed to be the real deal. So, if he can get in the groove, I think he was about a 400 hitter last year. So if he can get to going, but it's tough to it's tough to do what they did last year. I mean, you just stop and think.
Yeah, I don't think nobody. Do you expect Tennessee baseball to win it every year?
No. And
I think being respectable, it is better than it was.
I mean, we went 15 years without getting even in the tournament.
But it's better than it was.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. We didn't even get in the SEC tournament.
So he's right. He wasn't even making it to Hoover.
I mean, we
weren't even making it to Hoover.
And we bring in a West Coast coach that was supposed to change everything around.
Yeah, he changed it all right.
And
he got work.
He took us to the bottom. Even with his son.
All right, Chandler said you had some high school stuff. Put it up there, bud. Here we go. He said there's a score on here. I don't see it right here, but we'll get it here in just a second.
Ooh, Central.
He don't have it on this one.
Central beat Oak Ridge.
Ooh, Oak Ridge goes down. We should have asked Oak Ridge coach about that loss before we let him get out of here. Coalfield continues on putting up some pretty good numbers.
Powell over West. West usually has a pretty good.
Look at the Oneida Wartburg game, 21-8. That's a football score. 15-8. Coalfield over Greenback. That's a first quarter score.
They've had some football scores over there.
They have
about like that, right?
Yeah. So Kingston gets beat by McMahon Central, Clinton and Union County. Man, there's some high. 6-5 game over Harriman over Midway, Rockwood over Oakdale. Oak Ridge beats.
So Central, Oak Ridge comes back and beats
Knox
Central. Comes back and beats Knox Central there. And
Yep.
That must have been a double. No, it's Tuesday score.
Oliver Springs gets Sunbright 12-1, and Oneida gets Wartburg 11-9. Powell takes West. Pigeon Forge takes Anderson County. Midway takes Harriman. Oakdale over Rockwood. Union County over Gatlinburg-Pittman. Carnes over Campbell County, 19-0.
So McMinn Central sweeps Kingston because they do I think they do a Monday Tuesday
thing now. I think so. I think you're right.
Pigeon Forge with a big win.
Softball.
That's the youngster, the pitcher there that signed with UT.
Anderson County over Oak Ridge in softball girls, and Oliver Springs over Oneida 7-3.
Oliver Springs a real deal. They're probably the best softball team.
Think they are?
Yeah, the best softball. Which is not surprising. Them and Harriman usually have the two clubs that you got to beat.
And there it is. Central over Oak Ridge again. Kingston over Harriman. Rockwood over Oakdale. 23-14. That is a football score. And then Anderson over Scott and Wartburg over Cofield in softball. So that's our high school sports in a roundup. You been to any high school baseball games?
No, I haven't.
Stopped at any of them or anything?
No, I hadn't.
And neither. Like I said, I got a good friend. He's got a grandson that plays for the Dragons, and I've been meaning to try to get up there and watch him play. He's a good athlete. He did play on the football team this year for Coach Keith, and he's going to be a really good athlete coming up. He's just a freshman. Like I said, he's going to be a good. So I need to get up there and watch him play a game.
How about spring practice on the football field?
Tennessee has started, right?
Yep.
I know. I'm curious. I'm really curious to see what happens this year. First of all, I'm curious to see who's going to be the quarterback.
Surely you don't have any doubts.
Yeah, I got some doubts.
Have you?
Yeah, I think I don't think it winds. I think before the season's over with, the young kid replaces Milton. I don't think he goes the whole year.
Even if he's not, you don't mind he gets injured or what?
No, I don't think he gets injured. I think he gets replaced. I think they've lit the fire under this quarterback. It's supposed to be one of the best in the country, having him fourth on the depth chart. I think they've done that for a reason to motivate him a little bit. And I think when spring practice is over with and we're getting ready to go to fall camp, he's number 2.
Well, he's number 2 now.
Is he now? Okay,
Yeah,
I hadn't heard that.
he's
number two now. So he's come up.
Yeah.
So they've lit him enough up to get that. And you watch and see before the year's over with. Because, listen.
Well, they only have 2 scholarship quarterbacks, don't they?
I'm not sure.
Because, one went in the portal. They had a
You got
couple walk-on. As a walk-on.
He's a walk-on. Okay. So to be behind those 2 guys, I think it's a smack in the face. Is why I say I think they've got him. I think before fall camp's over, I wouldn't be shocked if he's not the starter.
So if Minton isn't a starter, does that ring a bell for you? Lights go out, blinking lights, sirens.
Well,
are we in trouble?
I'm gonna say why I think we're in trouble. If that happens, I'm hoping it don't happen before the season. Here's why: if it happens before the season starts, I wouldn't be shocked if he left the program and would leave us with 1 scholarship quarterback and 2 walk-ons. We would be in bad shape then.
I mean, why would you? I mean, he's already gone through that once.
I think I think he thinks this is his job. There's no way he's beat out. I don't think he's as good as maybe some people think he is.
Let's say we're in game 4. Say we're in game 4 and all of a sudden he's not the quarterback.
Different story.
I mean, are we in trouble then?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Might be in trouble because we're starting a young quarterback.
If he loses his job, you don't think we're in trouble?
I don't think we're in trouble if he loses his job.
Okay.
I think if there's just something, I don't know how. I think there's more question marks with him. Let me rephrase this. There's as many question marks with him as there is with the young kid. I can't remember his name.
I can't pronounce it.
I can't pronounce it anyway, so I'll just say that
California.
young kid. He's the young kid.
California kid.
So anyway, it was California. There's as many question marks on both of them.
I think there's only one. I think there's only 1 or 2 question marks about Minton. Can he learn to connect on the deep ball, and on the short routes? Can he learn not to drive it through his receiver's chest.
Okay, let's talk about that, what you just said. So what did Tennessee do a lot last year with Jalen Hyatt? Threw the ball deep or through that big, long crossing route that he would connect on. So he has trouble on both of those passes. So I'm worried about that. I don't think.
But now he looked better in the bowl game.
Well,
he looked better in the bowl game.
Maybe not.
Because it was his team. It was his team during the whole after the last couple games.
I'm going to. No, I don't think he did. I'm just not sold on him. I'm just really not.
Plus the fact that you've got two dimensions there. The freshman, pretty much pro style quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm just saying. I think before it's over with, he meets him out.
Well, I just think if that happens, we're in trouble. Because that means that he hasn't played well. We might have lost a game. What does the North Carolina State game do for you? Anything?
Nothing.
It doesn't do me any good either. I mean, you get a bowl of mayo after the game.
I tell you what, there's nobody in that conference. When I say nobody, I mean nobody in that conference, including Clemson, that does nothing to get me excited about watching a football game.
I think Clemson will be better this year. I think quarterback.
We've already beat Clemson.
Well, I'm saying
and
that was last year. That was last year.
There's nothing that excites me about it. I would be more excited if
Florida
we were
State
playing.
may be a little better this year than they have been.
I'd be more excited if we was playing Carson Newman.
But I think the North Carolina State game, the pressure is on him, because
on who?
On Minton, because if he doesn't play well, then that starts the process. That starts the talk. Because here's a 5-star quarterback. When are you going to give him a chance?
If we lose to North Carolina State, it's going to be a bad year.
Well, I don't know that it'll be a bad year, but
because North Carolina State was all the last couple years. It's been a lot of hype about North Carolina State, and there's been no hype. Well, they've not done. I'm not impressed with them.
All I'm saying is that the pressure is on him on that North Carolina State game, and I think he'll respond. I think number one, I think we could start Schuler at quarterback against North Carolina State, because offensively I think we're going to be that good. Now defensively, it's another story. We got to have some pass rushers. And we got to have
working on them.
We got to have some DBs.
I heard no guy on the defensive line there was talking the other day, said he wants 10 to 12 for a rotation, and said there's a few people still got to they got to step up a little bit more.
Martinez is the coach that's on the hot seat, right? Defensive back.
Yeah. Yes and yes. Yeah. I'll go ahead. I was going to say yes and no. That's a chicken answer, but yes, because I don't know how much Heupel likes changing. I think Heupel's more of a status quo guy.
Well, I do too, but I mean, he can only wait so long, though.
I don't think he likes changing up the staff. We've seen that over the last couple of years.
But I don't think he likes scoring 40 points and having a chance to lose the game.
Most of the people that have left him have left for advancement.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, he has another year where he scores 40 and the game's not over until,
Well, any game ever in last year went over to the horn sounded at the end of the fourth quarter. Till you got that horn.
That's right.
You didn't know. So
yeah.
Anyway, I'm really, I don't know that I'm hyped about Tennessee football coming up. I'm more optimistic than anything, because I just wonder what's going to happen. I just wonder if is Josh Heupel is he the real deal? I hope he is. Or is it a one-hit wonder?
I think he's a real deal. I mean,
we'll see.
I'm
not saying he's not. I'm just throwing it out there for conversation.
I think he's proven the fact that now, I mean, there's a lot of difference in the SEC and Central Florida. Don't get me wrong, but I think recruiting-wise, which is where it all starts, I think it's fun. It's fun to play for him. Because wherever if you're a wide receiver, you're gonna get a lot of touches. If you're a running back, you're gonna get some touches. You're gonna get the ball out in the open to where you can scoot for 45 or 50 yards if you can. And I just think he's fun to play for. I think kids, and that's what they're after.
How does the fan base over there? How are they reacting to all the? How's the older fans? I say the
I
older.
think you probably see them. They're selling more season tickets. They're getting more. They're getting more for per seat than they've ever gotten before.
Must not be getting enough for charging $5 for the spring game.
Well, I think that's going to charity.
No, it ain't going to charity. It's going to help with functions over there. They said they need some more money.
It's going to charity.
Need some more money, buddy. We got to get some more money.
But it's
popcorn prices is going to go up probably by 75 cents.
Well, beer will go up from 13 to 15.
Yeah, 13 to 15. I mean, they fought so hard to keep it this year after having a couple episodes. So it's going to be
new seats coming in. Where there's there's going to be a new little design there where the tickets are going to be higher and it probably goes. I don't know. It probably go $12,000-$15,000 for a chance to get those tickets. Whew. Wow. I don't know what a sweet guy.
All right, let me ask you a question. What happens to college football, period? And I'm only going to throw out what the rumors are going around out here. What happens if ESPN goes under like everybody says it's going to? Everybody else says ESPN's on the brink of going under.
ESPN's going under?
Yeah, they're going under.
Paying too much for games?
I guess they're paying too much for everything. They're having to let people go left and right, they said. I'm just listening to the talk and.
Well, all the games are in. I mean, look at all the bowl games. They're in ESPN's backyard.
Where does all that money?
They're in their bowl.
Where does all that money? Well,
advertising.
That's money that the SEC's not going to get. The SEC network is tied to ESPN.
They all are.
They all are, right? Yeah. So what happens to college? What happens to? Let's just talk college football.
Well,
let's not
ESPN owns ABC, right?
Yeah. Well, they're affiliated.
I mean,
with
that's
ABC.
Why you have all the. That's why you have all the bowl games.
That's what I'm saying. So what happens? What is? These conferences are in trouble. If ESPN was to sink and go completely under, and I don't think that'll happen. But if they did, what happened? What would happen to the landscape of college football?
Then what you have is, thank goodness that you had SEC networks, ACC networks, Big Ten networks. That's where you get the money. The money comes to them then. You probably make more than you would with ESPN splitting it.
But if they're affiliated, if their main affiliation is with ESPN,
well, but if ESPN,
what happens?
Well, if they go under, then you start a whole. Just like you do for anybody else, you get your own then.
I would think there's a lot of people panicking right now. I'm worried about it.
I wouldn't think they're panicking. I think what happens is like I say, I think the rich just keep getting richer because the SEC then doesn't have to split with anybody. That would be my take. Is
just a thought.
I can't imagine ESPN. Well, I mean, you can overprice things and get in trouble, but
just a thought. Like I said, people are talking about it. It's a talk. Listen to it a lot. So I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I don't get to sit in on the board meetings, and I don't know. But it's not the first time there's been some rumors about some things from ESPN, though. But that's a big. Listen. That's big. If that happens, that's big. That's big news. You talk about breaking news.
Probably what would happen.
Breaking news.
Probably what would happen is some of these guys on this NIL could loan them some of their money. I mean, this quarterback you're talking about at UT, $8 million.
Yeah.
So they could loan them some money to out of their pocket to
give them a couple.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it would be.
Freshman at UT loans ESPN $5 million.
Yeah, $5 million. Stay afloat for another week. Yeah, that'd be something. So I don't know if it's true or not. So we'll just have to see. I just think it's something to. If I'm the SEC commissioner, I'm talking. I mean, I'd be in constant contact.
Can you imagine what Peyton Manning would be worth now if you were playing under the NIL?
Oh, I don't think he would have got very much.
Okay, let me try somebody else. You had Peyton, you had any of those big time quarterbacks. Can you imagine what?
Were you talking about somebody like Eli or somebody like that?
Well, not necessarily Eli. He would have been a couple of years behind.
Eli would have probably been even more than Peyton.
No, Mississippi wouldn't have been able to give him much.
He would have got the whole state.
But can you imagine what? I mean, what would have? Golly, I mean, man, $8 million and he's never taken a snap.
What's wrong with that?
Well, nothing. I'm happy for him.
He don't have to go hungry now.
I'm happy for him.
You don't have to go hungry. If he wants a hamburger, he can get one after hours.
And what really is the case, he, I don't know about the new contract, but, when they first started that, there were some clauses in there that he walks, he keeps his money. If they don't want to pay him anymore, they don't have to. So I'm sure that's all been taken care of now. But can you imagine? In fact, there's one kid that signed at Ohio State for $1 million, never played, transferred to Texas, got another $1 million, transferred again. He never played a game and had $3 or $4 million in his pocket. Never enrolled in school and had $3 or $4 million. But $8 million at Tennessee, now that you just stop and think a little bit. That's a lot of money coming from a school that normally doesn't do those kinds of things.
Haslam's had to raise fuel prices to get that paid, didn't it?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know neither. Hey, let's jump out and take another commercial break. We'll be right back.
As soon as I walked in the door and saw just the ambiance of the place, I thought, wow. I said, this is really nice. Everyone is just great with all of the residents.
I call this the Alexander House of Angels.
This is an example of one of our rooms. This is considered a large studio. We do have 4 different size rooms. They all have their own private bathrooms. They all have a small kitchenette.
I always tell residents that they feed us wisdom. I feel like that's a big special part of working in assisted living.
And it's a big family here. Everyone is very nice.
Look out for each other.
They do. She's made a lot of friends. It's been that from day one.
Yeah, it has. I love our building, our people, but I tell you, I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
The life of every child is precious. If you care for a child or teenager with a disability and have limited income and resources, they may qualify for monthly cash payments through the Supplemental Security Income Program, or SSI. Call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov/SSI-Kids to learn more. That's ssa.gov/SSI-Kids. Message produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is your one-stop shop for vehicle sales and service. The Duff family is open for business for everything automotive. We offer fully inspected, dependable pre-owned vehicles, and most come with a powertrain warranty at no extra cost. We also have a complete service department equipped for maintenance and repairs on all makes and models.
Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
Welcome back to the Locker Room Chat.
You got any more chats you want to pull on?
Yeah, I want to pull another chat on.
Okay, throw one out.
Major League Baseball, the pitch clock and everything knocked 26 minutes off of spring training games.
It's good.
So an average game last year, I think it was 3 hours and 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 15 minutes, something like that. So if you're going to knock, let's say it knocks a half an hour off, go to the game, be out maybe within 2.5 hours. It's not.
Cut out a lot of hot dog sales.
Yeah, okay. And beer, and popcorn, and nachos.
I mean, you can't go stand in line now. You'll miss half an inning.
Well, got to get in there.
Huh? And if you buy them from the guy walking down the thing, it's no good because they're cold. They're cold.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Once you know it's happening and going on, you don't pay no more attention to like going to the Smokies game. It was there last year. You you watch it the first couple innings. Then after that, you don't never look.
Oh,
at that
you will
clock.
though when the new stadium gets here. When you get
College
the new
has it
stadium,
too. Huh?
when you get the new stadium, you'll
At
like it
Smokies,
better.
there's a clock in center field. You can watch it.
Yeah, I mean you
You
get
can watch what the pitch clock is.
Yeah.
You can
well,
watch it.
and they're and the batter has to stay in the batter's box now. I mean there's a lot of good moves.
No getting out, taking your glove off,
yeah,
bridges,
yeah.
and doing all that. Yeah, just a cup. Do all that. Get your helmet. Hit you. You get in there and let's go. Take some duct tape and tape them gloves on.
Well,
and let's go.
rough on them,
Yeah, I'm not rough on. Let's go. I'm
you
going up
rough
there
on
and pay to watch somebody do all that and that and that and get in there and dig around and go on. Let's go. You can either hit the bar or you can't. What do you think?
$10,000 per straight.
Yeah, they probably do. Rip the gloves off and throw them and all that. Get out of here.
So do you like?
Maybe the count ought to. Maybe we ought to start the count out at 1-1.
So what are you going to do?
Or
What
1-2.
what do you think about the umpires? Eliminating the umpires.
I think that's coming.
Oh, it's got, they already did it in AAA.
AAA, yeah.
Yep.
But what they said was it wasn't that keen eye that the regular umps give you back there. That little something extra back there.
You don't get the corners.
See,
You know.
and you don't get the one that's 3 inches off the corner.
Well, who do you? So who do
Schultz, Greg, yeah, Schultz wouldn't have made it. Now he couldn't make it now.
So who do you argue with?
Huh?
Who do you argue with?
The guy that's in charge, sits behind the plate. You have to come out in a coat and tie, and throw dirt on his brand new spit shine shoes.
Yes, I guess, man. I don't know. I mean, it's coming. It's probably coming to that.
Now you talk about savings. How much money you save there?
Bunch.
Woo.
Travel.
Wow.
You save a lot.
And I'd say you'd have an umpire. You'd have an umpire there that would be would be the rules official and stuff.
But now, a minor league umpire don't make nothing what the major league umpires make.
No.
AAA might make pretty good money.
Yeah, AAA does. You're paying your dues in AA.
AA and single A.
Oh, single
and
A.
Rookie ball probably it's no more.
Single A, basically, you're saying you can do. Let me just have a chance.
So
let me show you what I can do.
Single A just assign 3 guys to a crew and they travel together.
2 guys.
No, it's 3.
You sure it's 3?
Double A's 3.
Oh, AA. Yeah, I thought you said single A.
I'm sorry, I might have.
Yeah.
Double A's 3.
Yeah, double A's 3.
They sign them and they travel together and they're put up. I don't even think they stay in Mocha. They stay in Knoxville. When they come to the Smokies, I think they stay in some houses somewhere with somebody. Somebody's got them put some.
Who's going to put umpires up?
I don't know. If somebody loves the game.
Hey, if you're an umpire, yeah, you're going to. And you've heard old Johnny out there hollering at you the whole game. Yeah, I'll be right.
I'll be in by 11 tonight. I'll be home by. I think they do. There's some places.
I wouldn't sleep a wink in old Johnny's house.
If I'm not mistaken, some of them are put up like that.
I hadn't heard that. Now I know some of them used to sleep in their cars and stuff.
Some of them used to travel in vans.
We used to have a guy in Harriman that made it to AAA, and his brother was the really big Dodger fan. They used to call him, but he I think he's the only one I know that got close.
Got close.
And then to go from there to the bigs, I mean, you may stay in AAA 5 or 10 years because those guys don't quit. I mean, they're there. I mean, and now they'll make $150,000 to $175,000 a year, plus per diem, plus all that other stuff.
It's big bucks.
It is big bucks, and they've got it. They're the
only officials that are full time.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball.
Well, they start in February, and then end in November, so they don't get much time off.
I guess the main thing of the conversation would be just the pitch clock, speeding the game up a little bit instead of having a 4-hour game. Maybe.
But that's coming. The umpire thing's coming, and now you put the umpire thing with the pitch clock, and you can probably shave another 5, 6, 7 minutes off of that thing. And a minute's big in that, except for the TV timeouts. I mean, now what are you going to do?
Average MLB's umpires 235.
235.
Not a bad 11.
Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig.
Yeah.
Rookie start. That's not a bad gig neither at 150. Get yelled at occasionally.
Don't see much of that anymore, though. You don't see managers charging much like they used to anymore.
Just a few.
No, Leo and what was the Dodgers?
Sort of.
Sort of. I mean, you know, and Baltimore Orioles was what was his name? I mean, he was famous for it too.
Earl Weaver.
In fact, at umpire camp one time, they told us that Brooks Robinson called the third base ump over one time, and he said, would you throw him out of the game? He said, I'm about tired of hearing him hollering all the time. I said, would you throw him out? And he said, well, sure. And he said, hey, Weaver, you're out of here. He said, you can't throw me. He said, I just did. And said, old Robinson was just laughing.
That's pretty good when your own player gets thrown out.
And the next day, he said, I probably hold the record for throwing him out the fastest because I told him at the home plate when he brought he said, you better hope this lasts a long time because he said, as soon as the national anthem's over, you're out of here. He said, you can't do that. He said, watch me. He said, the national anthem's over, and I said, hey, Weaver, you're out of here. So he never got the.
Why'd he throw him out for?
They just didn't like him.
So they just got to throwing him
players,
out.
and Brooks evidently didn't like him because they thought it was really funny that. And that guy was from Jonesboro. That umpire was from Jonesboro. Only one that didn't get hired back after the strike.
He's the only one that didn't get hired back.
Didn't get hired back after the strike.
Huh.
So.
Oh well. I guess.
So let me ask you a question. Now, you've chatted. Now let me ask you a question. If you had one time to sit down and chat with any athlete that you could chat with, who would it be?
One time.
One time that you could say, okay, Queena, we're going to bring in anybody you want to sit down and have a chat with.
One time. No matter what sport.
No matter what sport.
I don't know. Maybe Ryan Sandberg. Cubs
Ryan
second.
That'd be
Ryan Sandberg. I used to like the Cubs.
Oh,
really well.
Rhino was pretty good.
I liked the Cubs really well, and
Rhino was pretty good.
I would probably go with Ryan Sandberg. If not him, I'd go with Eli Manning.
Eli Manning. Yeah. Well, we finally got it out of you.
He'd be sad.
That's what you think about. That's man. Well, I'm glad that old boy used that stickum on his helmet that day. You wouldn't be saying that.
I wouldn't even. You know where I'd put Peyton at. I wouldn't even put him on the list.
Well, that's good.
I wouldn't even want to talk to him.
That's good because that really shows that you're not really into this about.
I know, but there's better football players than him.
sports.
So if I was really going to sit down with the best quarterback ever in the NFL, I'd sit down with Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
I mean, he's won more Super Bowls than anybody.
Well, but see, Super Bowls.
Super Bowls is the main deal.
No.
If I was going to sit down with the best NFL quarterback, I'd sit down with Tom Brady.
Well, Tom Brady would.
But I'll tell you what. Now, another baseball player I probably wouldn't mind sitting around, hanging around for a day or two. Pete Rose.
So you have they all have something. You all have the same thread.
Wait a minute. Ryan Sandberg doesn't have any thread. Eli Manning doesn't have any thread. Pete Rose, maybe there's a little history with Pete Rose.
What do you want? I didn't say anything. I just said the same thread.
But anyway, Pete Rose would just be an interesting. I'd just like to hear. I'd like to sit down somewhere with Pete Rose and listen and see if he'd talk about what actually got his ass. Excuse me, I almost said it.
He would.
That got him in trouble.
He would talk about it.
I think he'd be interested.
He would.
But I would sit down probably with Ryan Sandberg.
Well, you jumped on that negative thread. I just said you got the same thread.
I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, too.
See, I was talking about red and white thread.
I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, too.
Well, that's a different story.
I just think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
So out of all the athletes, those three would be your choice.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, there's some others that you might put on the list, but you said the one I probably want to say.
Right.
Just, Ryan Sandberg.
Rhino was a good guy.
Like
he did a lot for the Chicago Cubs, did a lot for baseball. I don't know that he ever got in any trouble of any kind.
Not that I know. It didn't turn out to be too much of a man. The managing part didn't.
Well, but I don't think they really gave him a chance. I think coming in with the Smokies, and the Smokies weren't very good. Now, did he make some coaching decisions that probably so? I don't know, but but I just know that he's still probably one of the 5 all-time Cubs from a fan standpoint. Bernie Banks, I guess, would still be number 1, right?
Yeah. Probably. Yeah, probably so. Probably so. Dawson, Andre Dawson, when he played.
Andre Dawson.
Andre Dawson, when he played there. You know, there's probably some other people off the Cubs that played with. He would just be somebody I'd just like, you know, if I was going to, you know, try to. That's a team I always liked growing up, was the Cubs.
Well, you had them on TV all the time, right?
WGN, they were on TV all the time. Just like to meet him and be able to be around him, you know. So that's one that I would say that I would like.
Will Pete Rose ever make it to the Hall of Fame?
I don't. After he's dead, they'll never will give him an opportunity.
Well, but if what they're waiting for is for him to tell them the truth,
it's not happening.
After he's dead, it's not going to help them. They'll never find out then.
It's not going to happen. Here's what I think about Pete Rose. I know we ain't got much time left. Pete Rose, you know, put the biggest star by his name or asterisk by his name or anything you want to do. Pete Rose is not going in the Hall of Fame on my beliefs as a manager. And I know what he did's wrong by betting on baseball. I know that's a sin. Pete Rose, to me, is going in the Hall of Fame of what he done as a player, not as a manager. There ought to be a difference between player and manager. That's, even though it's tied to baseball, I think Pete Rose is over here as a player. Show me somebody that's better than Pete Rose and holds the things that he does as a player. Forget the managing part, because I don't know that he was that great as a manager.
I'll tell you one thing about Pete Rose that I always felt like he would have played for free.
He loved the game.
He would have played for free. He's one of the few people that probably never worried about how much. Why should I get? First of all, why should I get paid to do what I love to do?
I'd just like to know what made him think baiting. I'd like to know why he thought he had to bet on baseball. Was it? What was the reason? I mean, you know, he didn't need money. You wouldn't think he needed money.
I think it's.
I don't think. Do you honestly think he throwed games to win bets?
No, I don't think he threw a game.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he threw a game.
See,
I
think that ought to be part. I think that ought to be part of it. There's a lot of people who argue the other way, and that's fine. You can argue however you want to argue.
I would hope that was not the case.
I would be very disappointed if it was the case.
I think what it was a game for him. It was, you know, as a manager, you're sitting there all day long, and you know, I just think it was another. Can I win? Can I win at this? Not money. Can I beat the odds? He was always after the odds, right? I always want to beat the odds. But I always felt like he was one of the very few professional athletes as I was growing up that would have played for nothing.
I agree with you, buddy.
I think he
agree with you 100%. I sure do. All right, folks, we've about burning air up here.
Chatted out, didn't we?
We've about chatted out. We'll see what happens. We'll have the Final Four, the women's and the men's.
Guys, we're coming into April. Got the Masters coming up, and when the Masters comes up, it means high school football, high school baseball, and softball are about to get ready to start for tournaments. That season's almost, you know, it's almost here. When we just got started about 3 weeks ago, but it won't last but about 6 weeks.
It won't last long talking. It'll be over. We'll be talking about spring fling or whatever they call it now. It'll be over with.
It's there. High school spring practice.
Should be getting cranked.
We'll be ready to get cranked up. Colleges all everywhere now with spring practice. And, the orange and white game's 2 weeks out.
All I got to say is get out and see a high school baseball game or a girls softball game. I don't think there's a track. I'm sure track's going on right now, too. I think track's.
Saw a big crowd at Oak Ridge last week at a track meet.
Probably so. We'll be right back here next week on the Locker Room Chat. Me and Mr. Berry will be back, and we'll see what we can stir up next week and mess up. Have a good week, folks. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done.